and welcome to my book presentation. Today I'm going to talk about The Road, and this is the book, and what its message is. So, first of all, I'm going to start by giving you some general information about the book. Then I'm continuing by giving you a brief summary of Cormac McCarthy's life. After that, I will give you a summary of the plot of this book. Then I'm going to talk about the message, and at the end I'm going to give my review and if you should read this book. So this book was written by Cormac McCarthy and was released on the 26th of September 2016, and it is a post-apocalyptic science fiction novel, and it is about a father and his young son's journey on foot across the post-apocalyptic America some years after an extinction event. So, who is Cormac McCarthy? Cormac McCarthy was born on the July of 20th, 1933 on Rhode Island. He is a novelist, playwright, and screenwriter. His family were Irish Catholics, and that's why he also went to a Catholic school. But religion never really played a very important role in any of his books. So after he dropped out of university, he went to the Air Force, and that's also where he started to write his first novel. And he also published his first novel in 1965, but his novel got first successful in the late 1990s. And his write style is often described as very poetic, and there's a lot of material to think about. But the lack of punctuation, like commas and quotation marks, make it especially for not native speaking people like myself to read this book. So, like when the father and his son have a conversation, you can't really differentiate between the narration and the conversation, so it is quite hard to follow along the plot. So, talking about the plot, now we are going forward to the plot, and it starts with a son and his father going on a road heading south, because the area where they lived before is like all plundered, and they can't find any food anymore. And they also know that the next winter, which is going to come in a few months, is going to be much colder than the winters before. We also don't know what caused this event. We just know that it is a world where the human civilization doesn't exist like we know today. Everything is burnt down. There are no animals anymore, so not even rats or other type of animals. There are only human fighting about the remaining supplies and the remaining food to survive. And you could really describe it a very grey landscape, because it is covered by the ash that for some reason all the trees burnt down, and on the road there are also a lot of fallen trees that block the way, so that's why they sometimes have to get down from the road. And this is also where the first time they really met people. So it is the first man is an old man, about about 60s, 65, 70, who is almost blind. And at first, the father said to his son that they have to worry about their own problems and they can't help him. But the son just wanted to help this man and said that we can't just let him die alone and with no food. That's why they gave him some food and stayed the night with him. So between the scenes, there are also other scenes where the father and his son are before going to sleep are reading a book about the past world where the birds and all the beautiful animals that lived before are described and how the former world really worked and how our civilization was built. And there are also very interesting questions and also very interesting statements the father and the boy said. For example, the most important and memorable thing that I have in mind is that the father said that, do you see these people? They are always carrying the fire with him, and we also have to carry the fire with us. And when I am gone and you are alone, you have to carry the fire with you. So, and the boy asked why, and the father answered, because the good guys always carry the fire with them. So, this is also important for a later scene in the book. But they are not only like lonely and ill people like the old man, there are also groups of people like the marauders that are just hunting through the cities and searching for the remaining food that is left there. But they are also cannibals, so because of the lack of food, they hunt down other people and collect them in a basement, which the father and the son later find in the outpost of these marauders, where they keep the people alive so they can later eat them. And this is also a scene which is very disturbing for the boy, and he also has nightmares on the next few weeks in which the father and the son have to travel. So finally, when they got south, the father gets injured during a fight, and over the next few days he dies. So after 3 days, after 3 days after his father died, the son doesn't know what to do, and as he was about to go and search for food by his own, he met a man who had a gun, and the man said that he also has a family and 2 children, and if he wants to join them. But before the boy said yes, he asked the man if he is carrying the fire with him, and the man said yes, we are carrying the fire with us. And the boy also said, so you are the good guys. And the man said yes, we are the good guys. And that was the reason why the boy joined this new family. And the book really ends at this point. They just talk a little bit about the mother and the man, that it's like basically his old father, and he is trying to protect his family, and they still have hope. So talking about hope, talking about the message, let's move on to the message. And I think that this is a story about hope, and that in this world with no food and no supplies, the only reason why the plot is moving forward is because the son and the father have hope, and that they know that they are going to find, or they hope that they are going to find some food or any shelter next day. And there are a lot of metaphors that show us that. And also with hope, there's also something different connected. First of all, there is the scene with the fire, so that the father says that we are always going to carry the fire, and even if the father is dead, he must go on and carry the fire. And the good guys are always carrying the fire. And the fire is not only a symbol for hope, but also for being human. So the marauders, like we know, are not really human. They are eating other humans, and they have no morale, and they are hunting down people and raping women and things like that. So this is also connected to our history. The first time that the cavemans become human is when they discovered the fire. So basically, the people who carry the fire are not only the good guys, but are also human. And also, how are these people getting hope? So where does this hope come from? And in this story, the only source of hope is love, because the father and the son loves each other, and because the man and the woman with the new family loves each other and also accept the boy, are able to hope. And we can also see this in a scene where the father of the son gets shot by another man, and just by reflex, the father shoots this man with his gun. And as they went into the house where the man shot the father, they see a woman crying on the ground and saying, "Why did you shoot my husband?" And she also said that because her husband died, she doesn't want to live anymore. And you can see that love is the only source of hope for these people. So, would I recommend this book? Um, I think that this book is a very well written book, and it is worth a read. But I wouldn't recommend it to everyone, because there are a lot of disturbing scenes and a lot of like scary moments. For example, the scene where the boy and the father pass fire where the marauders ate a baby, or the scene where the father and the son find these people crawling on the ground in the basement of the marauders. So, if you are into this post apocalyptic and a bit scary books, you really should read this book, because there's a lot of material to think about. And I think that is a very good representation of how the world in a post apocalyptic scenario would look like. So, thanks for listening, and feel free to ask me questions and give me some feedback. And I hope you liked my presentation.